Hello YNABers, my name is Jesse Meekum from YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. We just got back from the YNAB retreat. I'm feeling pretty happy, but it's still Monday. Wednesday. See how confused I am? We had a long week of fun and it was exhausting. And we employed Rule 2, where we saved up for the retreat for quite a while and had a blast. But now we're back and things are starting to roll again, including Whiteboard Wednesdays. So I want to talk today, because a lot of people, this is a common question, very common question. YNAB is built to be monthly. You see, you navigate across months, everything's monthly. But people are rarely paid monthly, especially considering the majority of YNABs are dual income households, where you certainly, almost without question, you would have different pay cycles. So one spouse is paid every 2 weeks, another spouse is paid once a month or twice a month or something like that, and it can mean that a lot of inflows hit the budget at different times. At YNAB, we make it simple for ourselves by paying everyone just once a month, but you don't have the option of having the YNAB CEO be your CEO. So what if I'm paid every 2 weeks, every week, every night because I earn tips, once a month? What if I'm not paid during the summer? Any number of things like that. You just go back to a few principles. This one will be quick. You always ask yourself the same question. What does this money now need to do before you're paid again? So whether you're paid tomorrow or in a month or 3 months, what does the money on hand have to do before I'm paid again? And that might mean that you're reallocating money that was budgeted the last session or the session before that or the session before that. But you're looking at the budget as a whole. You have fresh money at the top that's sitting there to be budgeted, and you're saying, what does this money need to do before I'm paid again? And then when you sit down, you budget to zero. Now, this does not mean that you should maintain that to be budgeted at zero. So if you're working, you're getting tips every night. I used to twist balloons when I was in high school, and I'd get tips every night. And I would not have wanted to sit down every night and maintain that to be budgeted at zero. I'd log in $80 and say, oh, okay, now I got to budget that to zero. And the next night, another $70, $80, budget that to zero, adjust all the categories. No, that wouldn't have worked. I would have figured out what a reasonable frequency was for how often I should be having this budgeting session. So when you sit down to actually budget, do budget to zero. But the rule is not maintain to be budgeted at zero. The rule is to give every dollar a job when you are budgeting. So let's not confuse the two. We don't want you doing unnecessary work or adding unnecessary budgeting sessions to this whole YNAB thing because you think that should stay at zero. It doesn't need to. Again, what if I'm paid every? Doesn't matter. When you get money, you record it, and then when you sit down to budget, you just say, what does the money need to do before I'm paid again? And that might mean you're adding more money to categories, you're moving money from one category to another, you're bringing down that fresh money from to be budgeted down into categories, any number of things. But you're just sitting with the month. It could already have been budgeted for to a degree, but you're still just sitting in that month and you're saying, okay, I'll just move money here, here, here. And then when you're done there and you're saying, gosh, this money doesn't need to do anything for this month, you would go to the next month and you would start to say, oh, okay, here we go. And you budget for the next month. That's where you start to see the age of money climb, because you're budgeting for money that will be spent even later. And eventually you'll get to a point where that frequency, the budgeting session frequency, will actually decline. And you'll find that every other week or every Sunday for some people, or for me and Julie, it's basically once a month. And honestly, we still need to sit down and do it for May. But once a month is pretty good for us. You get into kind of a rhythm. Less than once a month, I've tried it before, it's not great. You start to lose awareness. But around monthly, you'll probably get to a spot where you feel like, oh yeah, that works pretty well. So that's why the software is built monthly. We want you to get to where you're doing about a monthly session. But again, pay cycle just doesn't matter. Look at that budget. What does this money need to do before I'm paid again? And then find the rhythm that works for you. When you're first starting out, more frequent budgeting sessions is a big plus. You learn a lot, you ingrain habits. It's a big positive. I hope that helps, and I will see you guys next week.